name is Amit from. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ambe International's sixth Facebook and YouTube live webinar. We are live from. I'm speaking to you from Mumbai, and today's session is about gateway to jobs in Europe. We have a very exciting session lined up for those of you joining in right now. As part of Ambe International during this time, obviously, recruitment, not much is happening because unfortunately right now most companies are looking to reduce their headcount. But, we are in the market. We are talking to clients on a daily basis in the Middle East, in India, and in Europe. And these sessions are an attempt to give you more information about jobs and when they will come up. Right. So, just because today the situation is not good doesn't mean that the situation will remain bad throughout. And we are definitely, we've had 3 or 4 of our clients join us from Germany, Romania, from Oman, Dubai on these chats. And we've already told you that a lot of them are, yes, negative right now in terms of recruitment. But hopefully by September, October, definitely by November, people are seeing an uptick. So in the Middle East and Europe, we are seeing that by November, December timeframe, companies will start hiring again. Companies are already planning for, what is their manpower schedule for next year. And we definitely see a positive uptick later this year. Now, that's the overall scenario. Specifically, today's topic is gateway to jobs in Europe. Yeah, it's an exciting time for us because in partnership we have set up an office in Romania in the name of Ambe Europe, and we've been operating there for some time, and we have placed a few hundred people in Europe. And today we are going to be talking about not just jobs, but how do you build a long-term career in Europe. So we've placed a lot of people in the Middle East, where we see people go for jobs, work for 2-year contract, and then come back, and then reapply and go again for a 2-year contract. Europe doesn't work like this. In Europe, if you're finding a good company, it's usually for keeps. Yeah, so we are going to be joined by our partners from Romania who are going to talk to us today. But before that, for those of you who are just joining in, I want to re-emphasize this is the sixth webinar we are doing in a series of webinars that we've been doing at Ambe International. And if you want to register with Ambe International for jobs, you will see the link at the bottom of the screen, right, for candidate registration. This is a quick registration that you can click on your mobile phone or your browser. The link right here, and you can register some very, very basic fields. We don't want you to fill in or give us your full resume. Be careful of the position that you say you're interested in, because we will send you job alerts based on those positions. And if the position matches the requirements that we have, then we'll get in touch with you to take a full resume from you. So that's one way that you can prepare for hiring in the next few months. The second very, very interesting thing, and it's especially applicable to Europe, is that recruitment and hiring will happen using e-recruitment, right? It will be contactless. That's the new buzzword. Everyone's talking about contactless recruitment. So we are encouraging, and we've been running a campaign for candidates to make their video resume. Now, making a video resume is very easy. You can do it using your mobile phone. It'll take you under 2 minutes to make a resume. The resume should not be more than 1 minute long. And we have a full video, a full tutorial on how to make your video resume. And you'll see it over here on this link. So there are 2 links that I've shared with you. The first is how to register with us. And the second is a YouTube video on how to make your video resume. If you make your video resume, we have already had around 300 candidates make their resume. We have started publishing it to clients. And amazingly, even in this time, we have had 3 or 4 placements. So it is possible if you make your video resume and we send it to clients, and if they're interested, then we're connecting you to clients even in this time. So now we get on to the topic of the day, which is gateway to careers in Europe. And to help us talk through, what it means to find a job in Europe and a long-term career, I invite our partner and an expert in the field with, I think, over 18 years of experience, though she doesn't look that old, Ritu ma'am. is joining us live from Romania. Welcome, Ritu.
Hi, Amit.
Um,
Thanks, first of all, and thanks, Rajendra, for doing all the logistics to make all this happen. So where do we start?
So, Ritu, I wanted to, ask you to talk a little bit maybe about, where, see, Corona has upset a lot of things in terms of industries. We keep hearing that countries are going to become more inward focused. But I know that you personally are very optimistic that Europe will need a lot of people by the end of the year. So, if you could talk about the source of your optimism.
Okay, fine. So first of all, I think, is it okay if I speak in English?
Yes, today we have invited people more from the IT industry, medical industry, and more of the HORECA industry, where,
Okay.
I think people will have to be comfortable with English.
Okay, fine. So thanks a lot for all of you joining us today morning. Um, we've been in Europe for last over 20 years, and we have seen this market go through various phases, various crisis, even the 2008 crisis when it happened, and how the market recovered, and after that the coming years when it was very stable and it was booming. So we can say that yes, our team does have the experience to go through this crisis as well, and to support our partners and everyone who is connected to this industry. What I would like to share with you will be some very practical information, uh, which would actually help you to plan, or at least a good insight which would help you to see your future in Europe. When we are talking of future in Europe, we know that most of our Indian brothers and sisters who think of coming to Europe, they think of long term. Very few people in the last few years, I mean hundreds that we have brought here, want to go back to India. Keeping this in mind, there are few barriers uh, which we can work on, so that this work and live in Europe can become easier and long term. To start with, I would like to just share with you uh, some information about what are the categories which not only Romania but overall in Europe, what they are looking for. Yeah. So I would like to just share my screen with you all. So here in this screen, you will be able to see which are the industries uh, which you can think of coming and working in Europe. Rajendra, is it visible?
Yes,
Hello.
Ritu, we can see the presentation well.
We can see the presentation. So, well, this is in Romanian language. What it says on the top, which are the domains, care sunt domeniile unde sunt căutați muncitorii străini, which are the domains where foreign workforce is being looked for, So we are talking of the construction industry. Industria prelucrătoare is the pre-manufacturing or manufacturing industry. Then we are talking of HORECA. HORECA would be hotel, restaurants, and catering business. Basically, what in India we call the hospitality industry. Then we are talking of services. And in services, the focus is on logistics and warehousing mainly, and transportation. And lastly is the agriculture. Now, all of these industries, they have a huge workforce deficit. even after this pandemic, even though there in all European countries, there is a certain level of unemployment now, but nothing comparable to India. I mean, in Romania, we are talking of something like 200,000 people who are right now unemployed, and most of them would go out of the country to work, which would mean either to Germany or to Spain or some other countries. So if we are talking particularly for Romania, there is enough vacancy available in these industries. Now, if we want to work in these industries, we need to understand what are the employers looking for. And for that, I would like to share with you another frame, which is very relevant and very important. Uh, this is a research done late last year, sometime around December. We did this research, and what it shows is the major obstacles which the European employers are facing when they employ Asians. Yeah. So the first thing they are talking of is communication. 73% of the respondents say that Asians not knowing the local language. Now we have this a bit of misunderstanding in India, that if I know English, that's good enough. But please think deep. There are only 2 or maximum 3 countries in Europe which speak English. Rest, all of them speak their own language, which means Romania speaks Romanian, Spain speaks Spanish, Italy speaks Italian, Germany speaks German, Denmark speaks Danish, and so on. So other than, we are talking of Ireland, Scotland, Britain, and maybe one or two other countries, there's no other country in Europe where English is the main language. So a great deal of emphasis has to be laid on learning at least one European language. Now, many of you, maybe you know that most of the European languages, they have 3 roots. One is the Latin, yeah, where Spanish, French, Romanian, Italian, all these come from the Latin root. So if you learn any of these one languages, you will be able to at least understand, if not speak fluently, all the rest of the languages. The second root would be the Germanic languages, yeah, where if you can learn German, you would be able to understand the Germanic languages, and there are the Slavic languages. So depends on where you want to go to work, you need to learn at least one European language. And because we know how important this is, Ambe Europe has started a program which we call Gateway to Europe, and where we will be providing language courses. So we strongly recommend that please, this waiting time that you have till the job market in Europe comes back with force, which we are expecting anytime end of Q3, beginning of Q4, please use this time and learn to at least A1 level or A2 level any European language. And after this session, we can share with you what is the procedure to get yourself enrolled for learning Romanian and German. These are the 2 languages we are providing right now, because we have already been doing this, because as many of you maybe know, that we are placing medical assistants and hospitality industry staff in Germany, and all of them are going through right now the German language training course for A2 level. So since we do have this experience and we know how to do it, I think we can definitely extend these services to you, and we highly recommend to please join the language courses. The second one would be different cultural differences. Okay, India is a very diverse country, so we already understand from north to south, from east to west, the cultural differences, because we are in itself as big or as diversified as Europe. So for India, it shouldn't be a very big problem understanding the cultural differences. Where we do see the obstacle is respecting other person's culture. Uh, not We don't need to like all the cultures in the world. We also don't need to live by those cultures. Maybe we don't even want to support them. But what is fundamental and essential to survive in another country is to respect their culture, which means we do not judge them for how they are. Just because Europe eats, a certain kind of food, it does not make them any good or bad, or they're not in any way doing anything wrong. It's their way of living. So we just need to respect all the cultures we come in contact with. The third one would be legislation problems. Now here we do face a major issue with India, because in India everyone knows everything, so everyone is an expert, and that lands a lot of us in a lot of trouble, because the way we understand laws in India, or we used to understand, because now I think things are different, but the way we see laws in India is very different from the way the laws are in Europe, in any domain you can talk about. So we lot of people spread a lot of information in the Indian market, saying, okay, it works like that, it doesn't work like that. And we have a tendency to go ahead and believe everything. We highly recommend that please verify, first of all, have a reliable source. Not everyone can give you the right information about the laws of the country. Uh, for Ambe Europe, we have a panel of certified lawyers whose specialization is immigration law. So we do not, like if you ask me about any laws, immigration laws in Romania or in Europe, all over, my answer to you would be, please give me the question. I will check with our experts and we'll get back to you. And we have been here for more than 25 years. So we do know, but still we would not go ahead and give you any information, because there are so many aspects of it which me as a non-specialist, I do not understand that, which only a good law firm, lawyers, or people who have specialization in immigration laws can help you. So please don't waste your time, money, resources on get collecting information from everywhere, and then at the end of the day they are not right information, and basically you don't know what to do with it. So please go to a verified source and get right information. Other situations has been okay. That another situation has been about our living patterns. This we never thought this can become an issue, but as we recruit more and more Asian workforce in Europe, we are realizing how fundamental and how essential it is to address this subject. When I say living conditions, I mean is something as simple as when we cook our Indian food, it has a lot of fragrances and aromas. And if we do not keep the windows open, or at least switch on the exhaust fan, the whole house has that smell which stays there. Okay. Now, we can be very comfortable with it, but people here are not comfortable with it. And we have had some serious issues about the apartment owners not being comfortable with these kind of things. So we are not saying don't cook Indian food. We are not saying, change your food habits, but we just need to make everyone comfortable. And we need to make sure that we create an image of ours which everyone is comfortable with. We don't need to change ourselves, but we do need to adapt it to the new conditions, because the fact remains that we have come here in another continent, in another country to work. So we do start as at a position of a guest. So when a guest goes to a host's home, we have to be careful that the host is not uncomfortable. These were the major four issues which the statistics show, and also our research and our practical experience of placing few hundred people here has shown that these are the major issues. So what we can start with is the language. Please, we suggest everyone to please learn one European language. And now I'm going to share with you the last slide, which is actually showing. Now this is something very encouraging. The question is, this question was put to Romanian companies, Romanian employers, that have they interacted with Asian workforce. So 43% of them have interacted in some way or the other, and 76% have said that they have a positive image of the Asian workforce. They say they are professional, they are serious on their jobs, and they focus. Okay, but what is important for us to understand is that 13% who said they could not work well with the Asian workforce. And what were the reasons? The reason was, they said they are difficult to work with, which would be translated into lack of adapting. They are retras. Retras means they are non-communicative. Now here can be two aspects why they are non-communicative. One, they do not know the language, and they are not very open. They don't feel very comfortable. The second could also be, we as a nation, we talk a lot, but we don't communicate much. I'm sure most of you understand there's a difference between talking and communicating. Talking is, I talk, I can even talk to a wall. Doesn't mean wall understands what I say and wall will answer me back. But communication means the person with who I'm talking understands what I'm saying and will respond to me. So we have to learn to not to talk to ourselves. We have to learn to talk to others and make sure they understand what we are saying. Why we are insisting on these things? Because these are the major issues. Because every time there is a sticky issue and we mediate between employer and the employee, the Asian workforce said, but I said so. Okay, you said so, but does that ensure your employer understood so? Maybe they just didn't understand anything of what you've said. So let's get into the habit of making sure that when we talk, the other one also understands something. And the third issue has been neintegrats. They could not integrate well. And here the major issues have been cultural differences, and for especially for Indians, the cultural difference has boiled down to food. Most of our candidates who could not integrate, the major issue was food. Yeah, either they were vegetarians or completely vegetarians, in the sense not eating even onion and garlic, and for them it was too much, to see so much of non-vegetarian food and everything having garlic and onion and so on. So these are the major issues which have been the barriers in Asian workforce integrating well in Europe. Okay, and this is our last slide. So the question was asked, if the Romanian employers have to choose between Romanian and Asian workforce, what would be their criterias? And it was a complete surprise to us. They are not even talking about the countries, because for them all that matters is is productivity. So you see, the highest on the criteria is seriousness. What do they mean by seriousness? Seriousness is not a management term. We need to understand that. Seriousness is very simple to understand. We deliver what we promise. That's all. We say our CV says something. When we have interview, we talk something else, and when we go to work, we deliver completely different. So this discrepancy in paper, talking, and doing is they don't understand, because for them seriousness means when we say something, we show it, and we are very sure I can deliver it. So this is we request everyone who is planning to come to work in Europe, and especially for a long term, let's get our act together. If we are saying I'm a professional in the HORECA industry, let me prove that I am a professional in the HORECA industry. Okay. The second would be professionalism, which is same. We need to deliver what we say. Yeah. Third would be experience. Yeah, and here is a very important aspect. The CVs which are being made now in Europe, they are not even asking what education do you have. Yes, if you have education, it's good. But what is the most important is you have the skills. If you have the diploma or the degree, but you do not have the skills, they are not interested. I'm sure no one is interested in the world right now, because no one can afford to pay the workforce which is not productive. So when we talk of experience, please don't uh, don't focus on theoretical experience. We are talking of practical, real experience. And to give you a helping hand on this, very soon we will be announcing some of the training schools which we are going to start here in Romania. So once we start that, through Ambe International, you'll get all the information. And again, it would be an opportunity for you to get trained in Europe. And then it would be the salaries, yes. But as you can see, salaries is way down, it's at the bottom of the criterias. They are ready to pay if we are ready to deliver. So anyone who is saying that Asians can't get good salaries in Europe is not right. But we need to deliver. So from this slide, my conclusion would be, please put a great deal of emphasis on productivity. What do we produce for the organization we work for? And second would be, let's deliver what we say. And please don't think of any jugaad. It won't work here. Lot of people came here keeping this in mind. Hum manage kar lenge. No, it doesn't get managed here, because things are they're system based. They are not people based. When you are dealing with people, yes, you can do a lot of jugaad. But when you are working with a system, with a machine, with an app, or what do you do there? You just need to deliver. Okay. And after this pandemic, all the industries across the countries will have brought in a lot of technology into the industry. So we'll be working with only systems. I don't know how encouraging this may sound, but this is the ground reality. And I'm sure a lot of you want to come and work and settle in Europe. But we need to prepare ourselves for this. I think that's all what I had to say, Amit. So if you can.
Questions.
Thanks so much for that, Ritu. Very, very comprehensive and very, very detailed presentation. I was taking notes while you were talking. These are very important points that you've made. That there are a lot of significant cultural differences that we need to bridge. Language is a major issue, and for those of you who are just joining in, Ritu ma'am is live from Romania. She's talking to us about what are the industries, what are the jobs that are available in Europe, how do you apply for them, and more importantly, how do you find success in them? See, finding a job is one thing. I think what Ritu ma'am was talking about was more how do you invest in productivity? How do you make a long-term investment in your career for Europe? And learning a language, the language of the country that you're going to, is very, very, very important, especially if you're going there for the long term. This is not like the Middle East, where there are thousands of Indians who are working and you can talk to people and get by on your own language. As Ritu ma'am is saying, the language is very, very, very important. For those of you who are just joining us, we are live from Romania and from Mumbai. If you want to register for jobs in Europe, or you want to register for the language trainings that Ritu ma'am has just talked about, kindly register on the link below. It's a bit.ly link, and if you register with us on this link, we will get back to you with if there are matching jobs, or if you say you're interested in language training, then that's what we'll respond to you on. So Ritu, thank you so much. Very, very interesting conversation. I think I'll take the liberty to ask you some questions before we start taking on questions from the candidates. And I can see we have already had some 300 questions coming in. I'm not going to ask you to answer all of them. We'll try and pick and choose some of them.
Yeah.
But one of the things I think which is topmost in everyone's mind is this whole Corona situation. Right? Which jobs do you think will, be the first to take off, and which do you think will come up more towards the end of the year?
Okay. Well, the situation in Europe is still, we do not have very high visibility. Yeah. So I wouldn't I can't give you some, I like to give always statistics, but right now there are no statistics available. What we do see is that European Union is focusing on certain industries because they consider them essential for Europe. So with almost 1.3 billion euros being put into these industries, we do see those industries coming up first, going by the logics. So those industries would be agriculture. Yeah. Yeah. Second would be we are talking of manufacturing industry. Yeah. Now all the countries are putting a great deal of emphasis on being self-reliant and not relying on China. Okay, because they all have seen what's happened, and so a lot of funding is going to go into agriculture, into manufacturing, medical. Medical would be a big focus, because for obvious reasons that we are talking of. I'll share with you also a few after this presentation. I'll share with Amit, and Amit can share it with you all. Certain research done that what is the deficiency, the gap we are talking of medical staff in Europe. And we are talking across, we are talking from medical assistants, paramedics and doctors. Yeah. And we are trying to cater to all this. Yeah. So Amit must be knowing that we are already doing medical assistants for Germany, and we'll be starting for some other European countries. Similarly, for doctors. Now, most of you know that medical students from India, they can't come and practice in Europe. They need to go for bridge course, or they actually need to come and study here. So for keeping since we know that we have signed a protocol with few medical colleges, and we can help you get your admission to these medical colleges. So very soon Amit will share all that information with you. So the third industry is medical, and the last, one of the most important is IT. And again, in IT, we are talking of right from the entry level, so-called, till to senior professionals. So these are the four industries which we are seeing very fast coming back.
Superb. So, if I just had to recap that for our listeners, you're saying that manufacturing, medical, IT, and agriculture.
Yes.
So, in these industries, Ritu, I'll just, just for the benefit of the candidates, so agriculture would be agricultural workers, tractor drivers,
Yes.
seeders, people working in food industries. Those are the kind of people who would be required.
Not only, we are also, they're also looking even for agro engineers. Okay.
Excellent. And all these candidates would obviously need to know English. And if they can learn Romanian, that is good long-term career for them.
Yeah, I mean, you see that when it comes to IT, we can survive with English also. But in agriculture, very hard to survive with English. Now, but for you to understand why it's hard to survive, think of some big farmhouse owner in Punjab. How many of them would know English or German or French or God knows what? No, they just know their own language, because their focus is agriculture, not languages. So they can work with anyone in the world as hard skills, but you need to communicate, and they want you to speak their language. So that is why there are industries where we can survive with English, but there are industries where we do need local language.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. IT, we can get by with in English. Yeah. Agriculture, we definitely need Romanian. Medical, yes. We definitely need Romanian. Not only do we need Romanian, we need local degree mapping.
Yes. Yeah.
What would you say about manufacturing over there? Can someone get by on English?
Depends again on the kind of manufacturing that's happening. If you are going to some IT components thing, yes, maybe we can, but again, you're working with the local Romanian staff generally. Yeah. And think of it like this: you will have a supervisor, and your supervisor has to be somewhere in the age bracket of maybe 45, 50, even above 50. So that's a generation in Europe which did not even think of English ever, because that generation of Europe knew, either if they were on the eastern side of Europe, they knew a bit of Russian, and if they were towards the central and Western Europe, they know German, or they know Spanish or some other language. So English is not at all on the list. Okay.
Very interesting, Ritu. So thank you for giving us so much gyan. And I think there are a lot of candidates who are waiting to ask you a lot of questions, and there's some very interesting questions coming in. The first I want to take is from Mr. Bridge Kishore. He also asked, how do we enroll for the trainings? And now he's asking about, maybe examples of product manufacturing, if you can help us answer that.
Yeah. The clients, I'll talk of our real experience, like our clients in manufacturing, they are into what do you call it? Metal. There are these specific metal components, which are needed in certain industries. So they are into manufacturing that. We have a lot of plastic and paper recycling, and then byproducts of these, so sorry. Yes. And what is major in the city where I live, we have all major auto components. So I don't know if you've heard of, we have companies like Ina Scheffler, we have Schneider, we have all the major German component companies have their manufacturing near Brasov. You see, so this is the kind of manufacturing we are talking of. Yeah, we also have CNC, a lot of demand for CNC operators here. Yeah. Okay, so this is about manufacturing.
That's super, Ritu, because the good news is that not good news, but there is a lot of auto manufacturing in India, which is in throes of a very bad slowdown. So any candidate who's working in auto parts will have experience with CNC, with metal, with molding as well. And we are saying that potentially they could apply to us. So for all candidates who are just tuning in, we are chatting with Ritu ma'am live from Romania. And if you want to register for jobs with Ambe, you can register on the link below. And if you want to register for jobs specifically in Europe and training in Europe, if we could show the other link, please, the EU link, Rajinder. We want to share with you now the link over here at the bottom of the screen. If you want to register for receiving online language training, we're starting out with Romanian language training.
Romanian and German.
Romanian and German, and these are local language speakers, live from the native countries. You please express your interest at this URL that you're seeing over here, bit.ly/AmbeEU, and we will get back to you on how we can help you with this kind of training. We'll take the next question, which is a very interesting question, Ritu. This candidate, I think, is in a specific situation, and what information could we share with Anish Avasthi?
Okay. So, hi, Anish. I can understand Romanian language. Wonderful. The spread in lockdown all over the world because we need a visa to go again. Well, the question is are you still employed with your company? Because there can be two situations. One is your company has closed your work contract. So in that case, you need to look for another job, do another work permit, another work visa, and so on. But if you are still employed, all you need to do is to just go to your embassy, your Romanian embassy, and ask them to issue you another travel visa, not work visa, because you already have a work permit and a work contract which is active. So you just need to ask for a travel visa. But as much as we know, most of the Romanian companies in this period, if they've sent people on vacation, they have also closed their work permits. So it is quite possible you will have to redo the whole process. Yeah.
So in this case, Anish, my suggestion to you is if you can register with us and register with the Ambe EU link so that you're registered expressing an interest specifically in the EU, and we'll see how we can help you out. The next question is from Mr. George. He's asking, I'm interested in hospitality industries, and he has 4 years experience. How could we help George, Ritu?
Well, hospitality, even now, I mean, we were really surprised. We thought HORECA, nothing is going to happen till Q3, but looks like we are wrong. And we do have openings for the hospitality industry. The challenge is if you can fly from India. So, so if tomorrow
yeah,
you
and
can
we can't
fly,
walk for sure, so we have to find a way to fly.
yes, yeah. In fact, today morning I was discussing with my team, and we were even considering the candidates who are in the Gulf, who are in the Middle East, because it is quite possible that it would be possible to fly from Middle East earlier than to fly from India. So if you are from the hospitality industry and in Middle East, yes, I mean, let's just see how when the in Europe the flights will open from 7th of July. Okay, so if you are in the Middle East somewhere and you can fly from there, yes, we can work out something even for the hospitality industry.
So I think what I hear you saying, Ritu, is that the situation, even though the situation is not good for the hospitality industry, we do have requirements in Ambe Europe, and people should be registering with us. For everyone who's tuned in now, please look at the link below and do register with us. We are even in this time, we are shortlisting candidates. This is specifically the link for jobs with Ambe Europe. These are resumes that will go into our database specifically for jobs in Germany and Romania. We do have positions open right now in IT, in medical, in manufacturing, and we can even consider your resume for some select HORECA positions. So I do encourage everyone who's tuned in to please register at this link. We will also share with you information on how you can register with us, and we will share information about how to enter into language training for Germany and for Romania. The next question we could take is from Spider-Man. Well, it's a very interesting name he's kept for himself.
Okay.
But he's asking about accounts and finance, and if that's something they need to learn German for.
Okay, yeah, account and finance is another industry where local language is the only language. Here we don't talk of English at all, unless and until you are working for KPMG or EY or PwC. But local finance and accounting is only in the local language. And here you will not only have to learn the local language, you will also have to upskill yourself with the local program in which accounting and finance is done. Okay, and local fiscal laws. If you just want to enter the mass market, this is what you need to do. But of course, there are multinationals also, which do work with international accounting procedures and international fiscal laws. But there, Europe is very self-sufficient, and they prefer to work with their local workforce, because as in IT, account and finance is another industry which is highly information sensitive. And they are now, after this pandemic, they are even more cautious about it, that the information has to stay within, where they feel safe.
Yeah, I can understand that, especially with GDPR, etc.
Yes.
coming up. So the next question by engineer Jahangir Hussain is how long it takes to process work permit after selecting from any company of Romania. Secondly, if work permit issued, is there any chance to reject my visa from embassy? Likely the cases we have seen a lot from Polish embassy nowadays. If you like, Ritu, you've been talking a lot. I'll quickly take this up.
Okay, so So no, we do not see happening with Romania what happened with Poland. Yeah, that is, and I would close at that. I will not talk about what happened in Poland. Yeah, no, that will not happen. Second, if they can reject the visa even if your work permit has been issued, yes, it can happen, because I will repeat, work permit is issued by the local immigration department, which works along with the labor ministry. Yeah, which does not take into consideration what you so much. They take into consideration the employer. They check the compliance of the employer. If the employer has debt to the state, if the employer has any penal, criminal, any criminal record or things like that, or if they have had any cases and so on. But when it comes to your Romanian embassy, they issue you a travel visa. Yeah, so if you have had embargo from any country in Europe, they will not issue you a travel visa. So it doesn't matter if somebody wants to employ you, but if you have crossed wrong borders, and please let me say 1000 times, this I say every third day, because we have so many cases of Asians trying to cross borders illegally. Okay, believe me, there is not even one case which we have seen, which has ended up happily. And all this is registered in the common database of European Union. So don't think, I did it in Poland, so no one knows about it. No, they all know about it. And Amit knows it very well. We just got we got a lot of work permits. And out of those so many work permits, they picked just one candidate out because he had tried to cross Norwegian borders illegally. Yeah, and if anybody says I can help you do that without papers, is making a fool of you. You'll waste your money and time.
You make two very important points, Ritu, which I'd like to just highlight to our viewers as well, the people who have just logged in, because a lot of them have experience with the Middle East. There's this concept of Khalli Walli visa. They go and then they start looking for jobs, or they go to the company and they run away. And it's obviously not the same in Europe, as we have already seen. The Europe, any country you're employed in keeps very strict records. And if someone is running away or is breaking the conditions, they will never be allowed to return. And that's in some ways the right thing to do, I guess. But the second point you made is very important, and I think we need to tell the viewers this again, is that for employers in the Middle East, there is no background check except what the recruitment agency does. So as Ambe International, we try and choose our employers very carefully. We talk to them very carefully. We try and get their background information from other candidates. But we don't ever ask them for their financial information, nor will any of them share it with us. But in Europe, you're saying that, these things do get checked, which means that from the employer side, things are with a high degree of certainty and a high degree of stability. And obviously, candidates who are going there should appreciate that and should also be reciprocating that. That's a very, very important point, which I hope everyone who's tuned in is listening to. We'll take 3 more questions, Ritu. That's all we have time for.
Sure.
So one is, K. Kishore was asking about fabrication jobs in Europe. I think Ritu ma'am has answered this already. There's a lot of metal companies, manufacturing companies in Romania, which I think Ritu ma'am talked about, which do need fabricators. But I do want to say these are not your regular pipe fabricator jobs. So, like how you have oil and gas companies in the Middle East who require large amounts of pipe fabricators, that's not the kind of fabricators that they require in Europe. Kishore is also asking constructions, fabrications, maintenance. If you'll allow me, Ritu, I'll just take this up.
Sure.
Yeah. So see again, oil and gas is not as big in Europe as it is in the Middle East, although in the North Sea, they do have rigs, they do have refineries, they do have pipelines, but there's a lot of local talent available. There's local certifications that are required. The certifications are not necessarily the certifications that, we have in the Middle East. So most of the jobs, as Ritu ma'am has explained, that we're talking about today, at least are in IT, in hotels and restaurants, what we call HORECA, in medical and manufacturing. In construction, also there are requirements, but we expect them to start out later in the year. Maintenance works, you have a lot of maintenance works for constructions. So, facility maintenance, cleaners, plumbers, electricians that are needed, but not necessarily maintenance for refineries. Do you need to learn the local language? Kishore, see, I think Ritu ma'am has explained this very, very well. If you're looking to go just for 2 years, it's better you go to the Middle East where you don't have to learn a job. No, you go to Europe for a long-term career. You go to Europe because you can go there, spend 10, 15 years, maybe get a passport. You can call your family there, Kishore, which you could never do in the Middle East, right? And that's the reason you should spend 6 months to 1 year learning the language, right? And that's what this session is about. After this session is ended, we will put all the details out in the Ambe International Facebook feed on how you can register for trainings in European languages with Ambe International. Shoaib Khan is asking openings for mechanical technician in Europe. See, again, I think we have answered this. You're eligible to get jobs there. That's not a problem. But the level of certification and productivity you require is quite high. Especially since right now, oil and gas is also in a slowdown phase in the Middle East and in Europe. We'll take 2 more questions, Ritu. This is an interesting first gentleman, Muhammad Akram, I saw, who has experience with dialysis for medical. If you quickly, if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, we in Romania, all over Europe, medical, anything connected to medical is very much. I'm sure we're talking of that. Yeah, if I understand well.
Yeah, so he's a medical technician for those who need dialysis.
Exactly.
And, he could work as a home worker as well.
Yeah. So definitely, there is. I will share with Amit the requirements and the number of people needed in this industry in Europe. So yes, yeah, there is a requirement, but again, please learn the language, because this is one industry where if you do not know the local language, it is you just can't communicate. So, and we would suggest for all medical people interested in medical career, learn German rather than Romanian. Okay, and if you learn A2 German, we can ensure you a job. But learn A2 German.
Ritu ma'am is talking about learning languages. If we could just put the link for registering for language training, we'll show you how to register with us for language trainings online. Please go to this link that you see over here. It's bit.ly/Ambe EU with double EU. And if you register over there, we'll get back to you with information on how you can register for language trainings for German. And specifically, as Ritu ma'am just told us, in medical, we have quite a few requirements in German. And I think we'll take one last question, Ritu ma'am. It's directly, someone's asking you directly. So if you could help us answer this.
What about refrigeration and air conditioning? Yeah, I mean, okay. Again, I'm not a specialist in this field. I don't know if it is the same understanding of refrigeration and air conditioning what we have in India to what it is here. Yeah. So
I want to answer this actually. I just want to share the fact that when I came first time to Romania in January, it was minus 14 degrees. Yeah. Right. And I realized that no one uses air conditioning at that point in time, right?
Yeah. So actually everywhere there is a refrigerator. Even today we have something like 3 or 4 degrees temperature.
Oh wow, so that's cold, huh?
Yeah, so it's cold. Yeah, so yeah, it's we would rather be interested in heating solutions.
So I just wanted to tell Sanket that basically if you're an HVAC professional, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, and you have experience with chiller plants, your
Yeah,
experience is useful because there's a lot of heating systems that are needed in Germany and Romania.
yeah,
So
right.
there are requirements, but you need to be aware of heating systems in addition to air conditioning.
Yes.
And I think we'll end with Sami Mukri's question, which is when are we opening the European language classes?
Well,
We've
we are
already.
planning on starting in July, in the first week of July.
Before the regulars register.
Yeah. So please register yourself so that we can make the groups. We can give you a pre-test just because now this is a very specific question. I'll answer this for everyone how it's going to work. So everyone who registers will get an online the evaluation test, because we need to understand your present level of English, at least, because we do not have teachers who can teach you Hindi to Romanian or Hindi to German or any of the Indian or local languages. So if we can help you only if you know bit of English. Okay, so that would be first thing, and for that we will be doing a test. We want to see if you have at least A1 or A2 level English. So if you have A1 or A2 level English, yes, we can teach you Romanian or German. After that, we are going to make groups of 6 to 8 people, which are at the same level, as a group. And yeah, so and from there on we will take it up. The German course will be authorized by Goethe Institute. So you're not just learning a language, you will actually get a certification. And same for the Romanian language. You will get A2 level certification.
Superb, and I'm sure that will increase their chances of getting a job at least 50%, right, Ritu?
Oh, definitely, definitely, yes. As you said, I mean, that's the major obstacle which Romanian employers see. Yeah, the language.
Superb. So for those of you who are logging in right now, we'll show you the link for how to register for EU language training and jobs in the European Union. My request is please make a note of this. This is an initiative that we are, as Ritu ma'am said, we are planning to launch in the month of July. For all of you all who register, you will see at the bottom of the screen the link bit.ly.ly/Ambe EU, AMBEEU. If you go to this link, you will see 5 or 6 fields, very, very simple. You can fill it on your mobile right now after this session is over. Once you're registered with us, two good things will happen. One is we'll tell you when the language classes are on. If you pass the assessment, we will enroll you into our language classes. The second is that if we find jobs that match your background, we will start sending you job alerts. Yeah. So, we've been talking for almost an hour. I wanted to thank Ritu ma'am for joining us from Romania. She's joined us when it's 4 degrees outside. It's hot and humid in India. But, I want to thank you for joining us today. And
Yeah.
I think it's been very useful. We will be saving a recording of this entire session on YouTube and Facebook. So for those of you who have missed it, you can go and look at it. And again, I'll leave you lastly with the link at the bottom, which is Ambe EU. If you can please register at that link. If you can show that link, please, Rajender. Please register at this link immediately after this session is done. Use your mobile phone. It will take you 2 seconds to actually register. And you'll start getting job alerts specifically for the EU. And we'll also look to do your assessment. And if you qualify, then we will enroll you for our language classes. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for everyone. Ritu
Amit,
ma'am, any parting words?
if you just allow me, we decided that at the end of this session, we will also tell them the next session.
Yes, please.
Yeah, which will be next week sometime. I mean, Ambe team will let you all know that. But it's going to be a very interesting session because we have invited our clients on that. from the construction industry, from the manufacturing industry, and from hotel industry. So you get to hear straight from them. Not, we do give you a lot of information, but they definitely know better about their industries. So please join us for our next session as well.
And are you going to be making any real-time selections in, Ritu ma'am? Because then we'll, today we already have 10,000 users. That day, I think we'll just go overboard.
But who knows? Maybe we will actually, think maybe not in this next session, but in the near future. That is the future. We all have to go digital. So yeah.
Superb. Thank you so much for your time, Ritu ma'am. I hope it's been useful for you. I know it's been useful for our viewers. And we look to see you again next week. We look to see you again next week.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks.